So, Laura, an interesting dynamic with respect to male-female roles emerges in the book when boyfriends enter into the picture. And Ardith and Blair, in as much as they're capable of doing it, are mistresses of their own destiny in their own relationship and their friendship. They're equals, and they are making decisions and thinking for themselves, even though they're at the mercy of the adults around them. But once the boyfriends enter the picture, Ardith just becomes subordinate.
Yes, she does.
In the way that her mom describes women becoming subordinate once they become involved with men. Can you comment on that? Do you think that she has any choices in terms of where she's going to go with respect to her position with men in the future?
I don't think she starts out making the right choice for herself. She does become subordinate. Instead of speaking in a normal sentence, this is what I want, this is what I've done, she starts to ask. She asks for things. She asks him the classic question, "Are you mad at me?" Because he's in a mood, and and she plays to it. This is what she's seen her whole life. As a matter of fact, in the book, her mother says, you just let him throw his little tantrum, then look sorry and make nice. Why? But this is the role model that she's grown up with. And then you operate, again, under the radar. I think in the end, when her and Gary's relationship plays through, no, she doesn't. She stops because she breaks up with him. He's violated everything that she's hoped for and wanted. He doesn't see what's right in front of him. Blair sees it. He doesn't see it. And I think when she finally walks away, I think that she rises above asking for, and she's going to go on. And she and Blair's relationship is the most honest one of all because they're on level playing field. They're best friends.
Laura, both Ardith and Blair's home lives are dysfunctional, but they're dysfunctional in different ways. Can you explain a little bit about how the different dysfunctions influenced the girls?
The girls are being raised in the environments provided to them by the adults. What the adults want for them, what their families want for them, are not necessarily what the girls want for themselves. And I understand that they're young, but that doesn't mean you don't know what you like and what you need and what you want, and especially when you're lonely. Blair is growing up pretty much alone in her house. Occasionally there's a housekeeper, there's a landscaper. Her family is very busy, and she's kind of left behind. So she's lonely, and she looks for attention, someone to see her. Ardith, on the other hand, is growing up in a party house. Her parents are they like hanging around with the older brother's friends. They don't want to grow up very much and take full responsibility, and they have a couple of bad habits. Ardith's house is not a safe place, and she's basically alone in a crowd. So she's a little more savvy than Blair because she's been exposed to a lot more. But they're still very young and they're still very lonely, and it's one of the things that draws them together. They're best friends, and they're both lonely girls.
In Leftovers, Laura, one of the interesting aspects of the story is that both Ardith and Blair are invisible in many ways until they become useful. And when that transition occurs, it impacts both of them individually and their relationship as well. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Once they become visible, all parts of their lives are scrutinized. The things that the adults don't think are worth holding on to are cast aside, and one of those things is their friendship. And that doesn't sit well with either girl. They love each other, they're best friends, they need each other. And Ardith's parents think Blair is a floozy, and Blair's parents just think Ardith is really bad. But what they don't see is how the girls have saved each other and kept each other from being lonely, and the commitment and the loyalty they have to each other. So no, they don't give up their friendship. It has to fly under the radar now. And they start using their own kid logic to keep it alive.
So Laura, your new book, Ordinary Beauty, is due out on June 14th. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Ordinary Beauty is it's a pretty compelling story about a girl who tries harder than anybody I ever met in my life. She is struggling to escape the shadow of her mother's addiction and neglect, which doesn't anywhere begin to explain what happens in this book. she is a really determined girl, and she is lost, and she wants to be found, and she tries really hard to make it through. That's Ordinary Beauty.
Laura, can you tell us a little bit about where you're going to be over the summer, what events you may be doing book signings at, and some other exciting things that are going on?
Yeah, we have a pretty exciting schedule right now. Saturday, May 7th, we'll be up at the Hudson Children's Book Festival in Hudson, New York, and that's from 10 to 4 on the 7th. And come on out, they expect thousands of people, and there's hundreds of authors and illustrators, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's Saturday. And then on Saturday, May 14th, I will be at the Millbrook Book Festival up in Millbrook, New York. I'll be on a panel signing. You can ask me any questions. Have mercy. Okay. And there'll be book signing. There's book signings all day, so that's Saturday the 14th. And then on Sunday, June 12th at 12:30 at Barnes & Noble in Exton, Pennsylvania, Ordinary Beauty is going to be released 2 days early for this event. So you can come on out and pick up a copy, and I'll sign it and say hi. And then later in the day, I'm very pleased to announce that I'm going to be over at the Chester County SPCA Gala Forget-Me-Not fundraiser for animals. That's from 5 to 8 in the evening, and that's going to be a blast. I'm really looking forward to it. On Saturday, June 25th, I am at the Tunkhannock Founders Day Festival from 10 to noon, and then later in the day, on Saturday the 25th, over at Barnes & Noble at Arena Hub Plaza in Wilkes-Barre for a book signing for Ordinary Beauty. And then July 1, Friday night from 7 to 9, Barnes & Noble, East Brunswick, New Jersey. That's going to be an Ordinary book signing too. So there's ample opportunity. Come on out. I'd love to see you.